All right, y'all, welcome to this week's episode of Music in the Minor League. This week we are joined by Jeff Perales of Mind, the Sunflower Syndicate, and Do It for Chico Records. Jeff's very well rounded. We've been a big fan of his bands from over the years. We were really excited to sit down and get to talk to him, man. It really turned out to be a great interview. We had a good time talking to him. We're really stoked for y'all to hear this one, man. It's a good one. So before we get to it, as always, if you like the podcast, tell a friend about it, share it online, help us get the word out. We really appreciate the help. It really helps the bands get the exposure they deserve. Next up, if you want to be a guest on the podcast, reach out. We do have some already in the books, but we're always looking for new people to talk to, man. We'd love to talk to you about music and what life's like in the independent leagues of music, man. So reach out. As always, we got some housekeeping to get out of the way. First off, we're going to give you some of Mind's upcoming dates, so you can keep an eye out for that. First one they got coming up will be June 27th at the Bunker in Tyler, Texas. Then on June 28th, they'll be at Andy's in Denton with the Aches and Turpentine. On June 29th, they'll be at Pee Wee's Punk House in San Antonio, Texas. And then on June 30th, they'll be at Alchemy Records in San Marcos, Texas with Distorted Ends and A Small Rock at the Speed of Sound. On July 1st, they'll be at B-Side in San Antonio, Texas with Destroy Orbison, They Life, and Stifler. So make sure you check those shows out, man. They're going to be good ones. And if you're wondering what we're up to with Brightwire, well, right now when this comes out, we're in the middle of a tour with its Grifters and Shills. So tonight we'll be at the Red Rooster Coffee House in Aberdeen, South Dakota. That's going to be a 6 p.m. start. So if you happen to hear this in Aberdeen, South Dakota, we look forward to seeing y'all tonight. Then on June 14th, we'll be at Cargus Farm House Concerts in Litchfield, Minnesota. That'll be Grifters and Shills and Jenna Goman, who you heard earlier this season. We're looking forward to that one. Then on June 15th, we'll be in Monticello, Minnesota at Nordic Brew Pub. That's with Grifters and Shills, man. That one's going to be a blast. June 16th, we're going to be down in Lawrence, Kansas at Gaslight Gardens. That's just going to be us and Grifters and Shills. That's a 6 p.m. start for Father's Day. On June 17th, we're going to be at Kirby's Beer Store in Wichita, Kansas. Really looking forward to this one. We'll be playing with Lung, who, man, if you haven't checked that band out, it's absolutely killer. We had never heard of them until we saw the bill get put together at Kirby's, and we have fallen in love with that band. Like, they're so good. So make sure you check them out. And also El Jefe, who y'all may know as Vic Gueron, who runs Pawn Stock and is just from McCook, Nebraska. Great dude, great musician. We're fired up, man. It's going to be a great show. Grifters and Shills is taking that night off. And then next night, June 18th, we close out the tour at Beer is Good Brewing in Norman, Oklahoma. So Grifters and Shills will be playing that one. So we look forward to seeing y'all, man. We always have a good time in Norman. Beer is Good has some great beers. So we're really stoked to play there. And we look forward to seeing y'all. Then to close out the month, we'll be back home. We'll be in Dickinson on June 28th and 29th. June 28th will be at Penny's Beer Garden. That's going to be all us all night for their Cruise and Brews thing. Get out there and play music all night, have some fun, hang out with people. Then the next night, we're doing a local show over at Ronnie's Ice House. That'll be with Tequache, Grifters and Shills, Jim Williams, 2/5, Tucker Hart, Scotty Frazier. A lot of people you've heard about on the podcast or heard on the podcast. And then also this band, the 1836 band, will be closing it out at the end of the night. So if we don't know much about them, we look forward to checking them out. One last thing before we get to the episode, just to remind y'all, we do have a show coming up, a great one on August 3rd at the Old Quarter. We're playing with Brent Best, who y'all may know from Slobberbone. He's coming down to do like his first show in Galveston, possibly ever. I don't know if Slobberbone ever played in Galveston. They haven't even been near Houston in years and years, probably a decade or more. So, load up, buy a ticket, come listen to Brent run through songs from his solo record and some of the Slobberbone favorites, man. It'll be a good one. And that's it for now, man. We'll talk to y'all on the other side. Hope you have a great one. This is a song off of Mind split they did with Mother Ghost. This one is called Cut Deep. Hope you dig it. We'll see you on the other side of the interview. Later. All right, welcome to this week's episode of Music in the Minor League. This week we're joined by Jeff Perales, who you may have seen around the Houston area and, well, Texas period with Mine or the Daphne Three. Also has Do It for Chico Records. Also has a studio, like does a little bit of everything, man. Like personally, we saw Mine open for, what was it, a Vulture Wake a while back, and seen other things that Jeff's done. I want to say we saw Daphne Three at Bohemios years ago. You can tell me if I'm wrong or not.
You're right. It was the Daphne Blue at that time.
Okay, Daphne Blue.
Lawsuit issue.
You can't call yourself our color. That's great. But man, thanks for coming and talk to us, man. Like I said, we were trying to get people that more, rock in here a little bit more. So kind of get through these wormholes of all these singer-songwriters hitting us up, which we love, but it's also, we want to there's more to indie music than just dudes with acoustic guitars. So anyways, man, like how we always sort of kick off every episode. I mean, what got you, what was the first thing about music that really got you into it? Because I think it's interesting that a lot of your bands have different sounds. So it's not like, I'm like just punk rock guy. You kind of do, like, here's some indie rock, here's some punk rock, and it's like this. So I kind of dig that because I think we're all pretty eclectic ourselves.
So I got into music really heavy at 15. My dad was worried that I wasn't going to be into music. My dad was in a lot of bands growing up. And I think he put out a 7-inch when he was 11.
Oh, wow.
And he got to hang out with... was it the Moving Sidewalks? So it was a pre-ZZ Top, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, they were actually in the studio next door in the next cutting room over while he was with his Mexican orchestra that he was playing with. He was playing drums for, and he got to hang out with them. And my dad made his money and his living that way. He would help out my grandma. He would come in every night late, and they would travel all throughout Texas playing. And he would always leave money under my grandma's pillow when he came in, and that's how he was helping pay rent and stuff like that and bills, all the way back to, when he was in single digits. And, he continued, for a long time playing. And then I remember some of my earliest memories of really being interested in music was my bedroom was on the far side of the house on the second story, and the game room was on the first floor on the other side of the house. And my dad had 4 huge speakers pointing towards the middle of the room where the pool table was. And I just remember on the weekends, early in the morning, I would hear just Mahavishnu Orchestra, Birds of Fire, 1972, and Mahavishnu Orchestra, Intermounting Flame, or Deep Purple, Machine Head. He would just be blasting it on the record player and just standing there listening to it all, or Yes, Fragile, or Close to the Edge, or Marshall Tucker, all that kind of stuff. So, and then I would go and I would just stand there with him, and we would just listen to one side, and then we would wait for the other side to happen, and we would just stand there and listen to music. And then I remember listening to Korn. They were playing Predictable on Rock 101 KLOL one night at midnight, and I was like, what is this? I was like, this is so intense. And I just knew that I had to get a guitar. And so my grandma bought me a guitar, and it was a really rough Yamaha. I still have it. My fingers bled, and I quit after a couple of months. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then my dad's like, look, if you really want to do it, you need to pursue it. I got back into it. And then as soon as I got back into it, within my first year playing, I was already playing in bands. So in high school, I was usually in no less than 4 bands throughout all of high school. And it was crazy. We would always have people coming up to us, me and my bandmates, in the hallways, hey, practice at your house tonight, right, Jeff? And who are you? And they're like, hey, man, I got a whole car full of men. I'm getting my mom's gonna drop us off at your house. Practice at 7, right? And I'm like, who is this? And then more people hey, tonight, right? Tonight, 7 o'clock, your house, right? It's gonna be practice. And then all of our practices, my first bands, there'd be 20 people just watching us while we were just trying to figure shit out, trying to figure out what it's like to be in a band, what a band is. Wow. And you already have people hey, that's a good idea. And then we would have and then sometimes people would bring their drum sets and just set them up. And we're they weren't even in the band. They were just trying to play along. And somebody would just jump on the mic. We're like, dude, you're not in the band. They're like, dude, but we're at band practice. And I'm like, but yeah, but this isn't your house, they're like, dude, everybody knows tonight's, band practice at Jeff's house. Dude. And it was so crazy.
It's an event.
But that's crazy because I had the exact same experience in high school like that. People were always coming to practice. And you're like, well, maybe we should have a closed practice so we can actually work on our shit.
Exactly, and it was so like nuts. And what's really crazy is I have a little room outside that we call the Hive, and I used to throw shows there. I used to throw like national and like local acts there. And everything from like people like Full Blown Chaos. I remember they played there, and then they went and toured with Slayer right after they played at the house.
Oh wow!
And I just had a whole bunch of bands play there, and before it became a venue, it was our practice spot. And my dad had talked to my uncle, who had this old farmhouse. It was a 1-bedroom farmhouse on this like farm that he bought, and he was like, "Hey, does anybody want it?" And my dad's like, "We'll take it." And so they put it on the property, and I remember they removed the walls because they were going to redo it. And all it was the frame and the roof and electricity. And we were still putting all of our stuff inside of it because that was our practice spot. So even when it was raining, there was no walls, nothing. No matter the weather, rain, whatever's coming through, humidity, the Texas Gulf Coast humidity, we're only 12 minutes from the beach. And we would keep our stuff out there because that was our practice spot. That's my practice room. Even though it didn't have any walls at the time. Like that was the practice spot, right? Then we finally got walls on it, and we had a tiny little air conditioner that like could not handle it. And the reason we called it the Hive is because we would always get stung by yellow jackets and red wasp and bees because they were just getting in through like the window and through like a hole like in the roof and through and then they were eating through the floor because there was just carpet covering the bottom and like some pieces of wood and like foam. So they were eating through. And so we'd be stung all the time while we're playing. And then eventually we had this mug in the corner that like, if you didn't want to go outside, use the restroom, which it's on like 10 acres, right? Like you could use the restroom anywhere. You would just pee in the mug in the corner and then empty out the mug. Like that was the thing. So you didn't like miss practice. Like it was pretty weird, dude. Like looking back on it, it was like really weird.
You guys are dedicated. That's like a special level of dedication.
Yeah, and don't forget, there's like 20 people too, like in the room, like while all this is going on. It's insane, dude. Like it was just like weird, mind-bending stuff.
So there's nothing else to do down in Texas City or Angleton, right?
Nope. Those two towns are identical. There's not shit going on.
I think a lot of city bands also had it too, because it was like, when you're in high school and there's dudes who got music, dude, we're going to go hang out. I mean, I remember like the two kids who had guitars at the beach. He'd be like, dude, y'all are going to hang out and y'all are going to play together. It's like, it wasn't even optional. It was just like, dude, this is what's going to happen. It's like,
do it.
What do you know? Like, do you know any Pearl Jam? Like, no, dude. I know, like, do you know any like Black Flag? No. So it'd just be like you awkwardly looking at each other like, I know nothing that you know, but we're supposed to hang out and play music. There's 10 people watching.
It's very common. I do remember like early in high school, my best friend's boyfriend had a band, and like they had the space, and people would show up to watch practice. So
yeah, it's a weird phenomenon. Like thinking about it now, I'm like, how did we get anything done? Because we were constantly playing the 3 songs we were good at because we had like people there, and so you felt like you had to entertain them. And it's like, but I need to actually work on a song, and like it's all the wasted time.
But all of a sudden, you get used to playing in front of people too.
True, that did take that off of like I guess it helped with the stage fright part of it.
Yeah,
it did, because I didn't talk to anybody before I was in a band. Like I was super shy. I didn't want to do anything like to talk to anyone. And that changed, like that completely just changed everything for me. I even became a debate coach, like that's
wow.
crazy.
What?
Like in high school, I was a debate coach, and like I took my team to like state. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't, have like those 20 plus rotating people at practice like every day.
That's awesome. I love it.
But yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that kind of, it was amazing. Like once you got into a band, suddenly your friend group opened up because the people that were in the band with you, well, their friends were like, oh, hey man, if you're in the band with so-and-so, then I guess I need to be cool with you. And so, yeah, I kind of, for people like, I didn't do sports or anything like that. So I didn't have that kind of built-in team. I did band, but that was, whatever. The band kids are weird. But when I got into an actual band, like it opened up different doors, different avenues. And yeah, I'm with you. Like it definitely makes you more, extroverted. I think it helps with that a lot.
It does. And what's crazy about it, like this is like making me jog my memory. It's like the days that I didn't want to practice, sometimes people would still show up. Like there'd be like 3 or 4 cars show up, and it was just filled, and no one cared about like seatbelts or anything like that. Like this is like 2000. So, nobody cared about anything like that. And so they were just jamming as many people as you could into a vehicle. And then they're like, hey, I thought practice was tonight. I'm like, no. And they're like, well, my mom already dropped me off. So then I would have to call my friends, like my bandmates, were like, hey, can you like get over here? And they're like, well, I was like, dude, whatever you need to do, get your parents, let them know, find somebody, tell them you have band practice right now. There's like 15 people here.
That's like basically, just shows every week. Here we go.
That's what it sounds like to me.
What I'm wondering is how many bands started from the people who came and watched y'all. Like how many of those people were like, dude, I could start a band.
Yeah, there was like a lot, dude. There was so many bands in high school, and there's not now, like none. I don't know where these bands are at. Like these young kids doing nothing. Nobody's doing anything. We were doing like crazy stuff. I remember I was like, look, I'm gonna be an office worker, and I was like, you know what? Anti-Flag has underground network. I was like, maybe we can have this underground network where I'm an office worker, and I can print all the flyers on the copy machines, and then I would coordinate what time to go down what hallways to pass flyers off. From when I would get out of the office, I would pass flyers, and then they would catch them, and it was like some real it was like some real incognito stuff, and then there would be like 300 flyers out in like less than an hour, and everybody had it. And that's how I was also slinging demos out of the office too. I would burn demo CDs on my 1X burner, which took like 20 minutes for 2 songs. And then I would put them in a paper slip, or I would wrap them up in notebook paper. And I would say, all right, hey, I need you to come meet me second hallway at 123. I'll say, I got like 2 minutes. I'm going to give you 50 demos, and I need you to slip them to as many people as you can in like, fifth period or whatever. Sure enough, like everybody in fifth period would have a demo. Sure enough, I would work on the other side, and that's what I did. And then so I would encourage my bandmates. I was like, look, I need y'all to make better grades, do better on your behavior, get in the office, and we can double this.
Nice.
Wow.
That's great.
It was crazy, and that's what we did. Like, I remember I had one CD. I had burned a demo. I made 200 copies. It took days, dude, to make 200 copies. And then not even like in an hour, they were all gone because I was an office worker in high school. It was the best. Making flyers for shows, it was awesome.
See, kids, you too can use the system to your advantage.
Oh man, that's why I always worked for I was glad I always had jobs where a staff copier was available that no one really monitored. It was always like, oh yeah, I can do this. I can print this. I'm printing something for work.
Right.
Print one work thing on the other 100 pages, have it on top. Like, here's my report.
Oh yeah, dude. That's how you do it.
That's awesome.
See, the kids nowadays, they don't understand. They don't have this like DIY ethos like we did.
Well, and you mentioned earlier,
game the system.
Right. You mentioned earlier, I don't know what kids are doing. They're creating music on their computers at home, and then they're trying to go out and perform it, but it's not the same because they sit by themselves. They're not having that social aspect. Not all of them, but making a generalization.
So a funny thing I did this year. So as we all know, I'm an art teacher, so I really don't teach. In my studio that I have, I brought an acoustic guitar just to kind of see what would happen. And I mean, we're talking, this is a beater guitar. Seriously. And it's been crazy because I didn't pay attention for a while. The next thing I know, during lunch, there's like 10 kids in my storeroom all around with a guitar, passing it back and forth. And I'm like, why don't you guys start a band? And they're like, we did. And so these kids started a band because they got together at lunch. I was like, all right, cool. I'm doing something right finally.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
I mean, that's really how it works, man. I mean, for us growing up down at the beach, it was like finding people in near communities that were like, you play? You have a band? Can we come?
Yeah.
Can we play with your band? Like, I can drive the hour here every week. Fine. So, man, that's cool. But that's kind of the whole point, man, is to get, that kind of excitement in your youth that gets you going. Because, we've come across some pretty killer, young musicians, but they've been mostly, like Kim was saying, at home doing beats and instrumentals, on guitar and bass and stuff. And they're like, all right, I'm showing up. I'm playing my tracks I recorded, and that's what's up. I'm going to do it. And they've been, killer people, but it's, you lose that whole,
Well, and I'm not even saying that I wouldn't have done that had I not had the opportunity that they have. I probably would have been like, oh yeah, nobody wants to sing or play with me. I'm just going to do this at home alone in my bedroom. And
you're right. It's a whole weird aspect. And the thing is, I'm really glad that I had those 20 people because, sometimes they would throw stuff at me and be like, dude, you suck. Hey, I'm really glad that I figured a lot of that stuff out in that room.
Oh yeah.
Before I went out and did it in public, and it's crazy. It was real-time critique. And it's if you want to know what the people really like or don't, invite 20 people to your practice. They're going to let you know.
100%. Hell yeah, dude. I mean, and I think coming from an art background like I do, critiques are part of the job. And I think a lot of kids miss out on that part of it because they want so bad immediately to be good at what they do, great at what they do. And so a lot of times when they get feedback, they take it personally. It's like, it's not personal, man. I'm just giving you feedback because I feel like what you're doing is good. I think you can take it a little more, take it a little further. And I think, I'm with you. I'm like, at a practice, if someone's like, dude, that really sucked. Okay, I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna fix that. You're less likely to take it as they're not talking about me as a person. They're talking about what I'm creating. And so we're in this process. So nothing's finalized. So it's cool. I can rehash it, rework it, and make it better, hopefully.
Plus, it helps you focus a lot more too. Because even with us, like when we practice, we leave our front door open. So we have a couple of neighbors that are just like walk in, go to the beer fridge, like give me a beer. And they'll sit down and just watch. And it's like, these are the 3 songs we concentrated on the most and like played the best, because during practices we're not like, not that I do this, but not thinking about other things like, oh, tomorrow I've got this.
Oh yeah, you never do that.
I'm not going to sing this entire like verse because it's like, oh dude, yeah, I got to do this at work tomorrow. But with them here, it's like, all right, can't embarrass myself. I have to actually play everything correctly.
You got to lock in.
I'm not going to do like the weird thing or sing the weird falsetto part that throws Kim off.
But it's so much fun when we do.
Well, and I'm not a really social person either. Being in a band has made me talk to strangers when I really don't want to.
It's that immersion therapy. We were talking about that yesterday on the way home from our friend's pool party fundraiser deal. That, when we first started, it's like, I remember being young playing bands. Like we played, we went and like hid, like, oh God, it's people. I'm scared, people. It's like, but you're in there long enough, people in your face, you're just like, all right, this is what I do now, man. Like it got me totally over the whole, like, I'm fear of just random strangers. Like, hey, what's going on?
Right.
It also makes me love my awkward friends so much more too, that we can all be awkward together.
True. Very true.
All right. Anyway, enough about us. We're. So I guess moving out of high school, I guess when you got older, I know that you're a teacher now and things like that. So I'm sure you had all your college time. What, did you keep playing music all through college and everything? Or did you take a break and come back?
I have never not been in a band. I will make moves. I have every band that I've been in knows that I have contingency plans for every single person. And if they don't know that, then I let them know right away. Because every band that I've been in, actually, I would say about 99% of the bands I've been in are the ones I've started. And so, and if I feel like something's in jeopardy of not working out, I will already have moves in place to have something else going. And I have, like right now, I'm in Mine, and the Daphne Three is kind of just dissolved because, just the drummer, he wanted a break, and, he's one of my best friends. And, it's kind of hard to continue without him because, me, him, and the bass player are all just really good friends, and it just wouldn't feel right. But, I had Mine already going. I dabble in everything. Right now I have let me see. I have electronic, kind of like The Cure, like a dark wave version of like The Cure, mixed with like old Ministry. I have something like that on the back burner right now. I have another band called Sunflower Syndicate, which is like Blonde Redhead and Radiohead and the Weaker Thans. I have another band like on the back burner that's like Atari Teenage Riot with mixed with Slayer and Ministry and Gary Newman. I also have folk stuff that I do that I haven't put out in a long time. And then I have some country stuff that I'm working on. I'm all over the place. I got a lot of irons in the fire. So if I feel like something's going to dissolve, I just kind of put one of those up in the forefront, and I'll make that my new thing. I've been in some other bands that I did not start. I was in a pop punk band in like 2010, 2011. I was when I was in college, I was a session musician. All my roommates were in the sound recording technology program at Texas State, and so I spent a lot of time in the studio just watching them like learn. So when I would tell them like, "Hey, what'd you learn today? Teach me." And when you're a teacher, the best way for your students to learn is for them to teach somebody else. So I was having them teach me what they learned. And so I learned a lot, just working around the studio, helping them out. And then I ended up becoming a session musician because I played drums, bass, piano, whatever kind of acoustic you need, ukulele, all that kind of stuff, and guitar, drums, whatever. And so I was doing session work, and this one band lost their lead guitar player, and they were recording, and my roommate said, "Hey, I know this guy. He's my roommate. He can sit in. He can learn the stuff." I learned all the stuff. They asked me to join the band. Universal was going to try to sign us, but that didn't end up panning out. And then I know we worked with the producer who did like Forever the Sickest Kids and I don't know. It was like a really, really like high profile kind of pop punk band, kind of like in the vein of like Angels and Airwaves, All Time Low kind of stuff. And like the production on it is like the most intense production I've ever done on any album. I ended up getting let go out of that band, I think, because I had too many thoughts. They didn't like that because, it wasn't my band. And I'm very opinionated on everything. And I also think that the producer did not like me telling him my thoughts on things also. But I was just trying to be helpful and, because I know things also. And I found out one morning when I saw the album come out and like some of my guitar parts were like changed up a little bit. They left a lot of my stuff, but like one of the solos they tried like imitate, and they had like some like young guy come in, guitar virtuoso out of Dallas, and he like changed it up. It did not sound right. I could tell they like used auto tune on the guitar solo and stuff. It was just weird. And then another band I was in, and then I quit that band, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just really good at bands that I'm in that I start, but whatever.
but I think I understand it though, man. It's like you're an artist. You want to create, and part of that is if you're going to put your time and effort into something, you should have some say in it. And I agree with you. I think it sounds like you probably saved yourself a lot of pain in the ass by getting kicked out of that group early, because who wants to be in a group that's not going to like listen to you?
And you're right. You know what? You know what's a crazy thing? I'll tell you the crazy thing. So when I did session work for them, they were based out of Austin, right? But they eventually wanted to move to Los Angeles, which they did, but they were recording in Arlington. I was driving from Angleton to Arlington, which is like 6 hours. I was doing that 3 times a week. I would go and I would drive back the same day.
Holy crap.
And I did that for like over a month.
Oh, nope. Wow. Nope.
Yeah, I definitely.
Only to be let go,
Not cool.
Man, that just shows, your time was not being appreciated in the remotest sort of way.
And I think that's a lesson though too. There's like, of all things, like your time is money. Like, and you can be paid X amount of dollars, but if you take time from me, I can't get that back. And I think I think that's good for a lot of musicians to understand, especially young musicians, that if you're not jiving with it, if there's not some light at the end of the tunnel, don't keep plowing away at something that you're not getting. If you're getting diminishing returns, there's nothing wrong.
You're right.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with like being like, this isn't my thing. And I think I think it sounds like it helped you kind of be willing to like, cool, I'm not going to be bored because I have a bunch of things going on, so that if this doesn't pan out, I'll go to the next thing. I'm good. So you always have that outlet at least.
And it pushed me to start my next band after that, which was called Earhart. And it was kind of like Motion City Soundtrack, Get Up Kids, Mineral, Promise Ring, and like Hot Water Music, Hey Mercedes. It was like that. And it pushed me to do my first national tour. We did a whole month tour. We toured the whole eastern half of the United States, like from the Midwest all the way up north, down the coast, everywhere in between. And with that band, I got sponsored. Hot Topic sponsored us, which was really crazy to me. An urban clothing company wanted to sponsor us, and we said, sure. So we did that. And then also Universal was interested in that band, but that didn't pan out. Side One Dummy was interested in that band a little bit too, but it didn't pan out. Eulogy, there was talks a little bit with that, but that didn't pan out. So, but that band, we went through 27 different members in that band, and I learned a lot. It was 2 guitar players. I also sang while I played guitar. There was a drummer with a big set, bass player, and then there was I have a Hammond Portabee, which is the portable B3 that used to belong to the Black Keys. Oh. We took that on tour with us. And then I also have a Rhodes piano, and we took that on tour. So I had a keyboardist who was playing Rhodes piano and the B3 also. So it was a big band. I bought a trailer, so that was like a whole different venture for me. Touring, played South by Southwest. So that from that failure and like all that with that other like band, that pushed me to be even more intense with the band. And we did, with that band that I was in, we would do 5-hour practices 3 times a week.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, it sounds like you putting your time and effort into your ideas has really paid off for you.
Yes, I agree. Trying at least still.
Well, I think a lot of it is too, like even, for me, like I always did good playing with it because, as someone who writes and does everything, like I always had fun playing in other bands that weren't as serious, I guess. Like, or like, oh, this is a friend's band. They play 8 times a year. Because otherwise I would start being like, hey, what if we did this? We should try this. This should be arranged this way.
Yeah.
And it's like, it feels just, okay, this is for fun. It made it a lot easier just because even with our buddy Hugh that I played with the band forever before, it was like maybe a year in before it's like, okay, now I'm co-vocalist and this is happening. And I don't know how much of that was just him being nice, how much of it was being pushy. I always romanticize it where it's like, oh no, man, he was really understanding. It was like, let's do it. But I may have been like, well, man, what if I sang like a couple songs? So I think it's kind of hard if you're someone, you have all these creative ideas to just sit idly by. And you're never really going to be happy just like I'm playing this other person's stuff. And I think there's like musicians and then like the creators. You can be a creator that is a musician, but it's hard, a lot of people just want to get up and play guitar and not think about coming up with songs and things like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's a big distinction, you could say this, like you have people that play guitar and then you have guitarists. You have people that play bass and you have bassists. You have people that play music and then you have musicians.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? And then when musicians, it comes down to the point like, hey, I like playing music and I can play whatever is thrown at me. But then you also have the distinction there, songwriter.
Right. Yeah. Because I think of myself as a musician. I'm not a songwriter. Like I know my lane.
See, I'm a songwriter because I'm not a very good technical musician.
That's not true.
I don't know. I mean, on bass, I can get up there and pretty much hold my own with anybody anytime. But like in guitar, I'm not like, it is atrophied so bad in the last few years.
But you're a songwriter because you have something to say.
True.
Not because you can't play well technically.
I'm just being a smart ass, but yeah. I'm just always a little paranoid. It's like, man, my guitar playing is like from playing an acoustic for 7 years. It's like, oh, everything else is kind of atrophied.
Yeah.
That's why you need to be in a band where you can play lead guitar.
Well, that's why I need to have like a studio space so I can be like, all right, I'm going to go in here by myself today and just jam out on whatever. And
woodshed some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did last night, actually. My wife and I have been kind of remodeling the house, and I was like, you know what? We've been doing it all day. I'm going to go out into the room. And so like 11 o'clock, I came out here and I was learning some, I was like, I need to get my guitar chops. I just need to make sure they're up. And so I threw on Van Halen 1, was learning like Atomic Punk. I put on some Accept, through it like old school German, heavy metal, and I learned Screaming for Love Bite. Thin Lizzy's Soldier of Fortune, I learned that on guitar last night. I learned Guilty of Love by White Snake, and then I've been practicing Hysteria by Def Leppard, and I'm Insane by Rat. So I've been kind of that's what I was going through last night, just trying to make sure I have my chops still, because you never know.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing too, is like a lot of musicians, especially like young people, they think that once you're in a band, you just focus on that music, and it's like, nah, man, you got to keep playing other stuff. Like if you get stuck in that rut, man, it makes it so hard to, like when it comes to the writing process, to be creative again, because you're kind of, if you're working on the same songs constantly, it's nice to throw other things in there just to kind of shake it up for you, because it can get monotonous, and you don't want that, especially in creative endeavors, especially, so it's nice. It's awesome that you're just woodshed the hell of these songs. I mean, never play them live ever, but I know them. Like that's the cool part about it.
Exactly. You're so right. Because like all I've been practicing like for the past 2 weeks is like Misfit songs and Black Flag songs. And Black Flag songs can be challenging, the later era. But these were early, so like it wasn't too intense. But I was like, you know what? I can only do so much Misfits. Like I need to do like Rat, Def Leppard, Van Halen.
Yeah.
Dokken. Like I'm trying to exercise some of the neurons.
Right. I need some pinch harmonics, damn it. Where are the dive bombs? Not in a Misfits song, I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you what, man.
There's no tuning either with a Misfits song.
No shit. Try playing along with those sometime.
Misfits is a band
it's
I can
brutal.
never enjoy. Even as a kid, I was like, Misfits, it's not my thing. I was like, that was probably it too. It was like, oh, this just sounds so like, I don't know.
It was so weird because you go from like on some of their albums, like it's like they forgot to tune some songs, but then some songs are great, like they're perfect, like they're great. But then you're like, get to the next one, like did they
Why
even
does this
bother?
hurt my ears.
And you know what? It's like they forgot to tune, and then you think like, man, they recorded to like tape or reel to reel, so it's like even like the tape speed's off, so it's like even more out there, and you're like, what is this?
Yeah, dude, it's like it got stretched or something. What the hell? Jesus.
I'd like to see the animatronic band at Chuck E. Cheese do it.
Hell yeah.
They could.
Yeah.
Okay,
They could kill it.
They just kind of do that up against each other. 'Cause, Black Flag's so like precise. That's going back to the 5-hour practices. They were like 7 days a week, like 8 hours a day.
Yeah, but I mean, but again, if you're going to get good at it, that's the way you're going to do it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're talking about that. I always apologize to them. If I'm learning a new song, you're going to play it like 15 times a day until there's no chance of me losing, well, without losing attention span, but, I'm not going to not know the lyrics normally because it's like, okay, I've played this song like 100 times around the house, like constantly. Before I go to bed tonight, I got to play through this 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
So that's the thing, too. Like, I know you do guitar. Have you ever played? I know I can say from the new Mine split, like, you did everything for the recording. So I guess growing up, did you always just play guitar and vocals, or did you just do drums for your stuff, or did you play drums and bass in other bands?
So I originally, my first experience with instrument was drums. And I was like, I don't know. My dad had like I said, my dad's a drummer. He had drums set up. And then, but something about guitar, man, like that just spoke to me. So I told my dad, I was like, look, I got this acoustic that grandma gave me, but I really want this Ibanez RG 120 because my friend has one.
Yes.
So, and I still have it. I actually ended up with 3 of them and I gave one away. And I still have 2 of my original RG. And then I got a Telecaster, some like knockoff Telecaster that was really sick. Because my dad's like, look, man, you can't be a guitar player and not have a Fender.
I love your dad.
I was like, okay. So yeah, my dad's the best. And he's my my enabler, and he's my biggest number one supporter. He's at like every gig.
That's awesome.
So even when I went on tour, he didn't go to all the out of state gigs, but as soon as we got back into Texas, even though it was in Dallas, him and my mom, every show.
That's awesome.
And then before we left, they were every show. Like and my dad will pay. He will not do guest list. He refused to be on the guest list. He's like, look, I'm gonna support. So I was like, all right. But yeah, I played bass in other bands. I was in a band with Steve and Rudy Duarte from The Tie That Binds. They're in As We Shiver now. But The Tie That Binds was one of my biggest influences growing up because they're a little older than me. I think Rudy just turned 50. I'm 38, so I think they're like 12 years older than me. But I used to go watch them, and they influenced me, and I ended up playing bass in a band called Holder with them. I played keys, like synthesizer, in another band called Harold Borup. I was a bass player for this other band called Since Always, which is now If the World Ends. I don't know. They keep going through different band names, but I played bass in that. I had an electronic project where I played 3 keyboards. And I did that. That was called the Honesty Box. I played drums in a metal band called Bayonet. And I remember that was so tough because nobody mic'd the drums. And I was like, here I am playing drums at these gigs and no one's micing the drums. I'm just going to try to hit harder. And I don't think I hit hard enough because like when I would look at footage of that, I was like, I can't even hear myself. But yeah, no, but mostly it's me on guitar or me on guitar and vocals. And then I fronted a hardcore band and I was just on vocals for that a long time ago. So there was that.
Well, I checked out your record label website and I was correct. I told Sam, I was like, what doesn't this guy do? Like, you do everything.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes.
Recording, playing on anything that's needed. That's pretty cool.
So you're not good at sitting still either. I feel like
no.
Start seeing that across the board. We should have some ADD parties with Jeff, John, and I. Just like, hey.
For sure.
Dude, imagine all the things you guys could get done in a 3-hour span of time. Like,
what if we do this? We should do this. Let's go do this.
Like, I'm thinking like a whole album could be like recorded and pressed in then 3 hours.
And that's the way it is, like I think the reason why is, I guess I'm a firm believer, like you are a product of your environment. Well, I live outside of Houston, right? Like, and if I want to go get anything done, I have to with a normal mindset of somebody else to be like, oh, you got to go to Houston, that's the city. That's where you're going to find like recording studios. That's where you're going to find like pressing. That's where you're going to find your merch to get done. The thing is, my mindset's still back from when I was 15. I was like, hey, where am I going to scrounge up this money to make this happen? Where am I going to find these people to make this happen? And that whole DIY movement just like made sense for me then. I really it clicked in my brain. I was like, I got to figure out how to do this on my own. And that has always stuck with me. So I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to find anybody to put out my stuff. I'm tired of people flaking out on me. I'm going to start a label, do it for Chico Records. I'm tired of people, flaking out on, hey, can you play bass for me? Yeah. Or, hey, can you play drums for me? Oh yeah. Or can you play guitar for me? Yeah. Or, hey, can you record me? Hey, can you mix some masters for me? And people flaking out. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it all myself. So now I taught myself how to play all the different instruments. I do all the own recording. I do all my engineering. I do all my pressing. Right here, like next to me, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 tape decks. I got 2 more above me. I got all my recording stuff around me. And, being a session musician and then playing in a billion different bands. I just have tried to become very self-sufficient in everything and not rely on anybody. So
no, that's how we do it too, man. Just however you can get in and knock it out yourself, work at your schedule, get your stuff done on your speed, and not wait for everybody else.
Well, and then if it doesn't get done, it's on you as opposed to someone else's problem. Like, I think that's the best way to do it. Then you're not waiting on anybody.
And you're in control of it too.
And it's more exciting. And, plus you go through and you're like, okay, I've been involved in every aspect of this. And a lot of people we know, like, a lot of people I looked up to as musicians kind of got the same way. Like love the Melvins. They've been doing all this stuff with Toshi Akashi. But, they have their studio in LA where they'll come in and record like, all right, we wrote a new song. It's recorded. It's done today. Like we went in and knocked. And it's just people
so fantastic.
Yeah, sounds great. And it's just like, dude, we when inspiration hits, it's like we can just walk in and be like, all right, let's knock it out. Like we're done.
And that's so great for a band like the Melvins, because the Melvins are like, they can be so off the wall. And it's like, really, like, if you think about it, like how many people would be really accepting of that, like just off the street, like, hey, I want you to give me your full attention to your time of day to record this kind of like wacky stuff that I got going on. Please excuse my hair kind of thing, like, like they can do it, they can do whatever they want. They're the Melvins, they secured that spot, nobody's going to say no to them now, but I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to say it's awesome to have your own stuff because you can do whatever you want and no one's going to say no to it because you're the one who's doing it.
Well, yeah, man, because if you're paying for studio time, there's so many corners you cut just because of cost effective.
That's right.
And like it can be little things like maybe changing a bass drum tone. Like you're just not digging that. Well, if you're in a studio and you got to go back and fix 6 tracks of bass drum now, you're not going to do it. It's because it's going to cost you too much money. But if you can do it at your house at your own leisure, hell yeah, dude. And it gives you more time to flesh things out and kind of experiment with your music and see where the song wants to go, and you don't have that kind of gun over your head kind of feeling of like, oh shit, we've only got 12 more hours left to get 4 more tracks done.
Yeah, no one likes to work up against the clock, man. It's the worst.
Yeah, artists are the worst about that, by the way.
What? Oh, I'm usually like, we were talking about that, say not work against the clock. Me and John were talking about it, like, all right, we're going to set the release date, and it's like, we have to be finished like, 3 months ahead of that date.
Well, yeah,
so we've only got 3 months to finish this record, which seems like a long time, but then it's like, well, I also have a 40-hour week job. I have this, I have that. We're still
got
playing
shows,
live.
yeah, touring.
And it's like, but I'm going to get this done. I have to because we've already set this.
That's how you make yourself meet a deadline.
Otherwise, it would just be like, oh, dude, what if we added this?
Right. We know what this song needs. Triangle.
What was it?
Get your
More
trumpet.
Aboriginal orchestra. We need that, or so it's tough, but it's like it works in different ways. But it's also nice to be able to start whenever that's kind of my thing. We can start when we're ready. There's no like, okay, we got to get to it. Once we start, it's like, okay, I'm too OCD. It's like, I don't sleep for like 3 months straight. Every night it's like, hey, I'm just going to check this one track out before I go to bed.
Like,
and then at like 3 a.m.,
hours.
I'm in here with like 5 guitars laying on the floor. Like, yeah, this one. All right. Then we layer this one with it.
Well, and then I get emails, like I'm checking my emails, getting ready to go to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, why the hell does Sam have 4 emails to me from 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning? It's like, hey man, check this track out. Well, wait a minute, here's another version of it.
Disregard.
Disregard. This is the real version.
Does it work like that for you too?
Yeah, that's totally me, man. I'm the same way. I know my bandmates are like, why is he sending me this? It's Wednesday, 2 a.m.
Right.
What is this? It says MM120324 version 7. What is this?
You gotta check this out, dude. Like, that's what I was doing.
All right, I'm starting an online support group for you guys.
Right, dude. And the best part is like Sam will be like, so did you hear it? I was like, yeah, I listened to it. Well, how's it sound? I said it sounded cool. I mean, I feel bad because I don't have like notes on. I'm like, well, in 1 minute and 24 seconds, there's a snare hit that's a little off. Like maybe I'm not like that. I'm like, it sounds good. Like it sounds good I was listening on my iPhone. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
See, I made a monster with Kim. She's like, the snare and your strum are like about 2 milliseconds apart, and I don't like it.
I'm an excellent editor, okay?
It's like, I
really
didn't
am. I
even
can
notice
come
that.
in and hear things.
I hear. Don't you
Yeah.
hear it? Listen. So, do you have I know you said you were married, so did your wife get involved at all with any of your musical stuff?
So right now she wants a lap steel guitar.
Solid.
Like she like was not really into country or like folk music at all. Like she's from Humble, from Atascocita. And, when she moved down here, like, she started like venturing off into that. And, like now she's like, I think I want to learn to steel guitar. And I was like, I'm going to buy you one. So I've been trying to find her a nice one. And then she's like, hey, maybe we should like write some country music. So I said, okay, like, let's try it out. Like her and I did like write one song one time for like a college project that she had. And she had to make like this, like she chose to make some like documentary kind of style, like video. And it's like me on drums and like her on bass. And she did really well on bass. She was like, oh, she's like, I play viola, but it's not too different. I just changed it up a little bit. I don't know how she like made it work in her brain, but she did. And like she was able to play the bass like pretty well. And I was like, I don't know what you're thinking about. I don't know how that viola thing translation to bass thing works out, but you're doing it and I'm playing drums to it. And we covered one song. We covered a song by the Cardigans. The one that's like I don't remember the name of the song.
They're in the car. The video has them in the car.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
We covered that song. We were like recorded it, and she sang on it and played bass on it, and I played drums and guitar and keys. So.
Nice.
But yeah, we've done that. And we did one folk song together where she sang and I sang and played guitar. Oh, and I forgot. We also covered a song, like a Motown song. I just can't remember what it was. And we recorded that, but I'll have to find that.
Nice.
So that's good though, because she understands. So it makes it more supportive.
Yes.
Being like, I got to go out. It's into my head. It's got to come out.
Yeah, my wife just lets me go. She's like, yeah, go. Because she knows what happens when I stay around too long. I get annoying. She's like, don't you have practice tonight? Yeah, I do. You go a little early. Go ahead, get started. Go play some songs. Yeah, because there was like a run of like 6 months to a year that I was not in a band, and she was like, Michael, if you don't get back in a band, I'm probably gonna leave you. I'm like, you
annoy the crap out of me right
and she
now.
was like, you are hard to deal with, and I was like, what? I think you're correct. I will get back into a band.
Was that before you joined us?
That was between that was before I started playing lap steel. Actually, I was a bass player, and then band dissolved. Well, I walked. I got tired of bureaucracy, and I walked, and I just decided I wasn't going to do music for a hot minute. And then that's when my buddies were like, we have this country band. You should learn how to play lap steel. I was like, hey, I'm bored. I'll figure it out. And so that's how that got started. But yeah, so
I was just wondering because she was really happy the first time he played with us. She's like, he's had that dobro forever, and I've never seen him play it. So I thought, I was like, maybe he hadn't played in a while. She was just genuinely excited this thing you bought was finally getting used.
I mean, there was that whole year that I was in denial that the Grizzly band had broken up. But I mean, that's just because I didn't check my emails for a year. That took you telling me, hey, buddy, your band's done. You're coming with us now. I felt like Sloth, and you were like Chump. I feel like that's how
you live with me now.
Yeah.
I love you. Oh, man.
That's great.
Well, all right. So, not quite there. So what do you have coming up, man? I guess that's the important thing. We've covered past, present-ish. So you got anything? My mind got some shows coming up.
Yes. So we have, let me pull up this real quick. We are not doing any Houston dates till like maybe August. I know it's kind of risky, I think, because it's summertime, but we're actually going to leave for a tour at the end of the month. We'll be playing in Tyler, Denton, and then our other date just dropped, so I'm trying to fill that out with something. And then we're playing San Antonio, San Marcos, and then we have, that's what we got. So it's 5 dates is what we have. And then, so those shows, and then I know we have one in August, so I'm just waiting for more details on that one. And then, Mine has, I'll just tell y'all what we're doing. So, well, you already asked, so I'm going to let you know.
Please do.
We originally had a different singer, right? We were a 4-piece. It was me on guitar, and then, Victor on bass, and then Raul on drums, and then Charles on vocals. Then Charles dipped out and he quit. So then I was like, you know what? I can do this. And I told Victor, I was like, you know what? You can do this. And so Victor and I both took over vocals while playing music. So we're a 3-piece. And then Raul, the drummer, he was never a permanent thing. He just was helping out, and we got another guy named David, and he's been playing drums. And so we released as the original lineup. There was the Find Your Way first EP, then there was the Aneurysm EP, then there was the Ragged Mind full length, there was the live bootleg, and then there was 2 compilations that we put out. So within 4 months, we put out 6 releases. Wow. I think is what it was. And then I even on the compilation it's called it's a parody off of Black Flag. Instead of the first 4 years, it's the first 4 months.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
It's all this like material. And the thing is, the band has evolved so fast because I have so much material. Like right now on my computer, I have 76 songs that I've written and recorded, mixed and mastered for the band. They just don't have all vocals on them yet.
Wow.
Like I work fast. Like when I'm like in the zone, like I will pop out like 5 songs in like 3 days.
Wow. Holy cow.
And the thing is, I like to write the songs like when I do an album, just like what I do with any band, is usually the track listing that you see like on any of my albums, I wrote those songs in that order because I was thinking of what was going to sound best next. I don't like go back and say, oh, I think this song's going to work here. And I think this, no. When you see the track list, it's because I wrote the songs in that order because I was trying to tell a story or convey a sound with that. So the band has now released, I don't know how many albums or tapes or whatever now. Find Your Way, Aneurysm, Ragged Mind, the Bootleg, the 2 Comps, the Mind Weird Flex Split, the Mind Erratic Age, Misfits cover EP, the Mind single Tired of the Act, Evolution of Sanity, the Mind Mother Ghost split that just came out, and then we have the Mind, the new one that's coming out, the new single, which is Get to the Show and Zelma's Window theme song for Zelma's Window production company out of Houston. I wrote their theme song. So we're putting that single out. There's going to be 2 runs of that. There's the band version and the Zelma's Window version, and then also the Mind 22-track Redux album, which is all of the old material reimagined to fit now into the soundscape of what the band is now. Wow. And also with me doing all the vocals. And like some of the songs I've completely reworked because I wasn't happy with the way they were originally. And I felt like the band needs to make sense live because some people are hearing like this old like Black Flag, you know, like Jealous Again kind of version, and then like kind of like My War stuff. But then now the band has like inklings of like Botch, Coalesce, Drive Like Jehu, Curl Up and Die. I don't know. It's all over the place. A little bit of like free jazz, a little bit of Mahavishnu Orchestra. Somebody told me the other day after we played, they're like, "Hey, do you like Smashing Pumpkins?" I was like, "I really do." They're like, "I heard that." And I was like, "Weird." I was not thinking about that. And then they were like, "Oh, like, hey, like, do you also like the Foo Fighters?" And I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Not hearing this at all, but yes, if that's going to get you to buy a tape,
right?"
You know. But yeah, so I have 22 songs that are written. They're re-recorded. I remastered them. I remixed them. I just have to put vocals on them.
That's awesome. So I think I counted 13.
Yeah, that's
13.
the big release.
That's a baker's dozen.
Wow.
I counted 13 releases.
Damn.
Yeah, and then we have another. So then, since we're putting it all on the table right now, we have an international split coming out probably like January with this band out of Finland. And that's going to be a collaboration effort. So I'll be on their track and then the singer will be on our track.
Oh, wow.
And then there might even be some guitar trading off on there. So I have that split that's coming out of Finland. So that's going to be Do It for Chico's like first international collaboration release. And then what else? Oh, then we're doing a split with another band from Houston, well, like a greater Houston band. So I don't want to say that yet because they've been keeping under wraps. We've been keeping under wraps. We're going to cover one of their songs. They're going to cover one of our songs. That's kind of the thing, like with all the splits on Do It for Chico, we want to do that where I'm going to cover one of your songs in whatever style I want. You're going to cover one of ours. Like we did that with Mother Ghost. We did that with Weird Flex.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it's really cool. We're going to do it with this other band. We're going to do it hopefully with a band from Finland. I have 3 albums that I have shelved for Mind right now, like 3 full-length albums.
Wow.
And I really like them. One of them is very like Suicidal Tendencies, Leeway. It's like really big crossover kind of stuff. Another one is like very like kind of Jesus Lizard, kind of like Sepultura also, and because I'm really into Sepultura, and kind of like Earth Crisis and Childhood. And then there's this like other one that's like really Bad Brains, Minor Threat, like DYS, Dag Nasty, like that. Like I have all this material. It's like insane. I just in my mind is trying to like organize it, and I'm really thankful for our drummer David because he's been like a really important in kind of like helping me like organize my thoughts there. And he's like, dude, don't put everything out. You don't want to overwhelm everybody. He's like, but this is like really good stuff. He's like, let's just try to be a little bit slower with the release. That way, you know, you can keep writing other things and
People have time
we
to
won't ever
absorb
run
it.
out of material. We're not going to run out of material.
No, but
But
Yeah,
you give your audience time to absorb the music, though.
yeah, let them digest it and get comfortable with it and stuff. I think it's good. It's a good
So
idea.
you're pretty prolific.
Yeah, and I need that.
Yeah,
I need that. I need that to happen in my life because I'm just prone to just throw it all out there right now. Like, I'm telling you, I have 76 songs recorded on my computer. It's like insane because I get in the zone. Like I know I said that earlier, but like it's a for real thing. I just completely zone out. I don't think about anything. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Oh, I also forgot to tell you, I have my band Sunflower Syndicate, which is that other band I have with my friend Drew Brown. We went to college together. I actually met him my first day of college. I made fun of him at US Seminar 101 because he said he liked bananas. That was his like thing that he introduced himself as. And I just could not get over that. And I just never let that go. He's the smartest guy that I know. He has 2 patents, like really important patents for like, I think like petroleum and stuff like that. And he's so smart. And I've always wanted to be in a band with him. And he was not a musician. And I was like, Drew, you really need to learn how to play music. I was like, you have such good musical taste. Your whole family has good musical taste. Please learn how to play something. So he taught himself how to play piano. And him and I have a whole album together. When I tell you that this might be my favorite thing I have ever recorded out of like everything I've ever done, I was telling Drew this other day, I was like, dude, I am so intimidated by this album. I was like, it's so like, I feel it's like my magnum opus. And like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. You know, I was like, I'm really nobody, but I know every musician feels like they have a magnum opus at some point or everybody strives for one. But like, I really feel like him and I achieved it because here's this guy, Drew Brown, the plainest name I've ever heard in my life. And me writing like some of the most interesting music. Like it's got a country song on there. There's a country song on there that I wrote about my dog that passed away that was 13 years old, Blue Heeler, and this intense sadness that I had. And I wrote a couple of songs on there and on that album. And there's some electronic stuff. There's like, it's like Blonde Redhead meets Radiohead meets The Weaker Thans. And I am so intimidated to work on it because I'm afraid I'm not going to do it justice, like with the mixing and mastering. But the demos sound so good right now. And I just want to show the whole world, but I don't want people to dismiss it. So I want to have a whole game plan. But we are releasing through Do It For Chico Records a single of it that we will have on tour with us. We're going to have a Sunflower Syndicate, the single I Am Alone. And then it was already remixed. There's a remix that we're going to have on the B-side. So that'll be out this summer. And then we will work on putting the album out. And we already started writing album number 2. And then I have a Misfits Black Flag live set that I'm going to be recording next week. Oh, wow. And we're going to put that out to tape too for my other band called Black Fits, like Black Flag Misfits. And I think it's 13 tracks. So yeah, it's going to be a Black Fits. I'm going to record it. I'm going to try to do the Misfits justice and record it all live. Maybe things won't be in tune. I don't know.
I mean,
if I'm feeling good, they won't be in tune.
Is it a real Misfit album if they're in tune? I mean, come on now.
Yeah, I know, dude. Like you're so right. But I mean, we're doing songs that normal people who cover like the Misfits don't do. Like we're doing Ratfink.
Oh wow.
Return of the Fly, Attitude, We Are 138, of course Last Caress, Skulls, Hybrid Moments, and then for Black Flag, Revenge, White Minority, what's the other song? Fix Me. We're just doing a whole bunch off of like early Black Flag. Oh, Nervous Breakdown.
That's a jam.
Hell yeah.
Wasted, all that. So I learned all those songs the other day and then learned how to sing them and play them. And it's tough. Greg Ginn is a very tough guitar player to learn. And then try to sing on top of that. It's bonkers.
Yeah, that's where I lose it every time. If I'm like sitting around the house playing stuff, it's like trying to sing a song. It's like, yeah, and there I lost it. Like, so he does a lot of weird little things where he throws in little weird notes here and there, like between chords, like, it's kind of.
I actually met Greg 2 years ago, and him and I are friends now.
Oh wow, that's rad.
Like, yeah, I went to go see them man, I saw Greg play with the Corrugators back in college at like a little dive, and then I saw Black Flag do like their like My War tour 2 years ago, like the first version of it.
Yeah,
and I hung out with him. Like I met him, right? I saw him, and I was like, hey, I just wanted to say like I love the guitar playing, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I mentioned that I was a school teacher. I think that I had to get back to work the next day, so I had to get home. And then he was like, hey, wait a second. And then he's like, hey, I have a really big respect for teachers. And he's like, my family, I got a lot of teachers in my family. He's like, oh, you know, tell me more about it. And so I told him, and then we started talking, and he's like, dude, he's like, give me your number. He was like, let's stay in contact. So I gave him my number, and I was like, did that really happen? And then like the next morning, I woke up and there was a message on my phone that said, hey, Jeff, this is Greg Ginn of Black Flag.
Yeah, I'm going to save that voicemail
Hey,
forever.
man, what's up? Hello.
Yeah, and so like whenever like they come through Austin or Houston or whatever, I go and we hang out, and you know, like I just texted him the other day, and he was like, you know, hitting me back up and stuff, and yeah, it was like music takes you like in the weirdest places, and you meet like all sorts of different people you just never know, you know, like talking about weird encounters. I on that Earhart tour I did in 2011, we played in New London and no one showed up. New London, Connecticut, there was no one there. 3 of the bands dropped. It was just 2 bands from Texas, and the sound guy. This is like the moment, like it's like the biggest joke to me. There's no one there, and the sound was the most incredible sound. It was the sound guy for Dream Theater.
Oh shit! God.
He was just there, and he was running sound. It was like the biggest sound we've ever sounded, and there was literally my friend Wayne, who showed up from Connecticut, like who lives in Connecticut. He showed up, and the other band from Houston, and then like the bartender who was also like running the place, and then the sound guy for Dream Theater.
Wow.
And I met. Sorry, I know that I'm ranting here.
No, you're good.
That's good.
Okay. So check this out. This is the craziest thing. This is like one of the craziest things that ever happened. We're like, it's 12:30. We're leaving the venue in New London, Connecticut. And like right down the road is where Amistad landed. So anyways, weird. But I have a Bucky sticker on my guitar case. Somebody yells at me, hey, Bucky's. And I'm like, yeah, what's up? They're like, man, I haven't seen one of those in forever. And I was like, oh, that's cool. They're like, I'm from Angleton. You ever heard of it? And I was like, what? I was like, I'm from Angleton. I was like, my buddy here's from Lake Jackson. He's like, dude, my friend right now that's with me is from Lake Jackson.
What? That is crazy.
Lake Jackson, 10 minutes away from Angleton. We meet 2 people, one from Angleton, one from Lake Jackson, in New London, Connecticut, on the other side of the country at 12:30 after the dude from Dream Theater ran sound for us.
Dude, that's intense.
Where were those people? How come they didn't show up to the gig?
No shit.
Right? If we'd have met before the show.
You just never know.
Well, that's like the time we were in Oklahoma, and Kim from
yeah.
Port Neches, Scott comes up. He's like, I'm from Texas too. It's like, well, where? Like Beaumont? So Kim's like, yeah, that's what I say. I'm actually from Port Neches. He's like, dude, I'm from Port Neches.
I was like, you're full of crap. Show me your driver's license. I made him show his driver's license to
And
me.
like, it wasn't quite as far. It was like middle of Oklahoma. It's like, man, who the hell's from Port Neches?
Yep.
No one.
Yeah, like who is from there, right? Like, oh,
Just me. Me and Kyle.
we both of y'all are from there.
Exactly.
We played in. Oh, sorry, we didn't get to play for that tour. Also, we had a gig in Columbus, Ohio, and when I get to the venue, I find out it's double booked. And I was like, oh well, you know, can we just combine the shows if that's cool? It's only 2 of us, and they're like, I don't think it's gonna be cool with the guy, but he's in the other band. I'll send him out here to talk to you. It was like one of the dudes from Butthole Surfers.
Oh shit.
It was his band. I was like, oh, well, dude, you're from Texas. He's like, you think I give a shit that you're from Texas also? And I was like, well, you know, can we play? He's like, no. He's like, y'all just need to leave now.
Did it happen to be JD Pincus?
I don't know which one it was. I just remember I was like, dude, I know he's from the Butthole Surfers. And like when I said it, he said, yeah, that's me. And he was like the rudest guy ever. And I was just trying to make conversation.
That's a bummer.
I don't know.
We meet so many nice people on the road. I don't like to talk about the bummers.
Yeah, true. Well, I think the bummers are few and far between.
Thank
by
goodness.
and large.
Yeah.
But when you hit a bummer, it's a true bummer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was a bummer. That was a real big bummer. And then we're driving down the road, and I saw these bands loading into this house in this basement. So I walked in this basement, and I was like, hey, what's going on? To like the local show. I was like, cool. I was like, we are from out of state. Is it cool if we just like open? No, and we don't want any other people to play.
Damn.
Wow.
I was like, dang.
Where was this?
Dang. This was in Columbus, Ohio.
Wow.
I know lots of people from Columbus. Never heard it's like unfriendly, but
That
dang.
was-
Twice in one night.
And that was like, twice in one day, one night.
Dang.
But it's okay. It's okay because Guided by Voices is from Dayton, Ohio. And so, Ohio. I'll take it. Dayton, Ohio.
What is it? You take the good, you take the bad?
All of our friends from Columbus are like really nice. But you know, people suck everywhere.
That's true.
There are people who suck all over the place.
All shapes and sizes.
There's Dysons in every town.
Oh man. Well, shit, man. We're going like kind of getting over past an hour. So
yeah.
I think I told
I'm
you
sorry
this in
about
the
that.
message. No,
Oh,
you're
no,
good, dude. We just
no.
want to take your whole night. I mean, we're mostly just.
I'm good for whatever you need me. I cleared my schedule.
Awesome.
I'm whatever. I'm game for whatever.
Dude,
so.
he's a teacher, man. We're off for the next 2 months, bro. We're good.
I know.
Yes.
We got nothing but
Yeah,
time, man.
So jealous.
Taking advantage. I got PD tomorrow and the next, but I'm not even worried about that. You know, like I've been going to bed at like 4 or 5 every night so far, trying to maximize as much as I can before this tour. So
Yep.
yeah, I just been pressing cassettes and listening to a lot of Black Sabbath and Black Flag. So
It's not a bad soundtrack, man.
No, it's really not.
Yeah, that's where we're heading out on Friday morning.
Yeah. Is it Friday morning?
It is Friday morning. Cleaning out the car tomorrow.
All right, cool, man. I'm glad this came up in the conversation because I was like, what?
Where's Health? Well, gotta go.
Sorry. I'll meet you guys in Amarillo.
Right.
We've already,
I'll fly in, guys. It's fine. It's fine.
But all right, you ready? You want to drop your question?
You ready for the question? All right. So final question. All right. Give us a list of 3 to 5 artists that you feel the world should know about. They can be, singer-songwriter. They can be full bands, whatever. Just some groups that you just feel need to be listened by more people.
like any time,
genre.
like
So
local, or bit or whatever, or what? What are you
So
looking for?
their name has to start with an S. I'm just kidding.
Now
No.
we more or less lean toward like indie bands and things like that, but independent bands, not indie like the music, but independent bands,
Right. If you're like, my first one is the Foo Fighters, that's not the right answer.
because everyone knows who they are. Yeah,
If you said S, I was gonna say S, the band S,
There we
which
go.
is Jen Ghetto from Chris is Weird. Like, she's an amazing songwriter. A lot of people don't listen to her. I don't think she gets the props that she deserves. And her band is called S. It's like kind of hard to search up sometimes, but it's like really worth it. And she's an amazing guitar player and songwriter and singer.
How perfect was that setup? That like, see, you're welcome.
Just random
That's what I
line.
do.
In regards to like another band that I think that people should check out, that I feel that a lot of people just do not get into, there's one band that I have every band member listen to when they're in a band with me. It doesn't matter what band you're in, you have to listen to this album. It's Mahavishnu Orchestra, Birds of Fire. They are a jazz fusion group, one of like the first ones to do it. John McLaughlin played on Miles Davis, like Bitches Brew, and Miles Davis electric era was like his jazz fusion era, and like he helped start it. Even there's a song called John McLaughlin on that album. So that album's like really integral. I need everybody to listen to that if they can. It's just a mind-blowing album. I listen to it all the way through. I don't ever skip ever, and I will listen to that album like a million times. So yeah, Mahavishnu Orchestra. Since you mentioned S, I wasn't going to pick S, but I picked it because you said S, and I think that's really
Give it a
good.
starting point.
Another band I think that more people need to get into is let me look on my phone right now because I got a whole bunch on here
It's cool. We
that
have
I've
the
been
magic of
listening to
editing.
lately.
Don't worry, we can edit all the dead time out. It's fine.
We just volunteered Sam to do a whole bunch of work.
We do. That's what we do.
Okay. I think if you don't listen to Atari Teenage Riot, you're messing up because there's a lot of angst and a lot of emotion, and for being pioneers in digital hardcore. Alec Empire, Hanin Elias, Nick Indo, fantastic. I feel like more people need to listen to, for trying to keep it indie, but still like not mainstream also. Godflesh, Justin Broderick, I think is amazing. I think the fact that he goes online and he will tell people like, hey, I think you're misinterpreting my music. I have autism and my brain works differently than y'all's, and that's what affects my music. I think that's really cool. Oh, Dysrhythmia, they're on Relapse Records, and they're an instrumental band. They're a 3-piece. They're very strange, very weird, a lot of dissonance, a lot of grooves. The drummer Jeff was originally only using a single kick. I'm hoping he still does now, but I think a lot of people need to listen to that band. Did I name 4 or 5? How many did I name?
I think you
don't
gave
know.
us 5.
I think it's fine.
S,
Yeah.
Mahavishnu, Atari Teenage Riot, Godflesh, yeah, and Dysrhythmia. There we go.
Perfect.
Hey, I can count.
Heck yeah.
Well, cool, man. That brings us to the very end. Is there any last thing you want to cover before we go? Or do you-
I want to thank y'all very much for taking y'all's time, to give me a platform to speak and, to hear some of my inner workings and some of the thoughts that I have. I don't really tell anybody about all that stuff that I told you at the beginning with my practices and stuff. I think that's really cool. It kind of made me appreciate a lot where I'm at right now. And, it's funny because music will take you full circle sometimes and you don't even realize it. Like right now, the roadie for Mine, his name is Nick. He was the bassist in my first band ever, and I lost track and time and touch with him for like decades. And now he's showing up on the regular. He's the most upstanding person for the band and friendship. And, if it wasn't for music, I wouldn't have met people like him. If it wasn't for music, I wouldn't have met my wife. She worked at a radio station. I was trying to get my album played. And the friends that I've made and the people like y'all.
Yeah.
Music's a crazy thing.
It's a really cool community.
It really is. And, music makes the world smaller and it makes it more, I guess, tangible, and it makes it easier to understand, I guess, in a way. And I wish that younger generations would be into forming bands more, would be into playing music more instead of just listening or trying to be an influencer. Like, hey, go influence people with your music and play in a band. Mm-hmm. And if it's just a couple of beats and you're going to sing, hey, that's okay. But maybe try to find some people to play in that band with you so you can see what the chemistry is like, the human chemistry of being in a room with people, because that's a feeling that is hard to describe to people that aren't musicians. When you're really like you said earlier, locked in, when you're locked in, that there's nothing that can compete with that feeling. And no amount of backing tracks is going to give you that. It's a human interaction, the ebb and flow and the fluctuation of everything. It's just feeling the resonance in your guitar, your acoustic guitar, when it feeds back and you're like, man, it shouldn't be doing that, but I really like this right here, or the drums. You have that wonky sounding drum that you can never get to sound right, but that's that trademark sound that you have, or something, the raspiness of your voice. Just music is something that I feel that more people need to experience. More people need to venture out, step outside the bubble, go listen to bands, be uncomfortable with listening to stuff that's different to your ears. I listen to worldly music all the time. I know I drive my wife crazy sometimes because sometimes on long trips back, we will only listen to Bollywood, like a playlist. Or I will, like yesterday, I listened to probably 8 hours of Bjork. In the house, and I don't know how she took that.
Well, she didn't kill
my
you.
Yeah, she didn't kill me, and my pug Chico, he didn't care, and he was asleep. And Daisy, my other pug, she didn't care. And then I don't know. But anyways, final word. Thank you for giving me this platform to speak. Thank y'all for doing what y'all are doing. I think it's fantastic. Thank y'all for having such a wonderful personality and chemistry between the three of y'all to host something like this. And y'all vibe really well. And thanks for inviting me. I really I feel so honored by that.
Big fan of your music, man.
Oh, yeah.
So I appreciate you coming and doing it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So go out and play music, everybody.
Oh, yeah, right?
Yes.
Everybody.
All right.
Go out and play music. And if your family supports you in what you do, make sure you tell them thank you and that you love them, because my parents do and my wife does, and they're big supporters of me, and I wouldn't be able to do this without them. I mean, my wife saw me buy 100 shirts. Oh, sorry. I bought 50 shirts yesterday, so she was totally cool with it. I bought my own printing press. There you go. For being self-sufficient, I bought a 4-press printing press from a teacher who was getting out of the teaching game. She was like, "Oh, you're a teacher?" I was like, "Yeah, well, how much?" I was like, "You have this for 200 listed on Marketplace." She's like, "Where do you teach?" I was like, "Oh, I teach here." It'll be $50 for you.
Nice. Hell yeah.
So yeah, teachers. Anyways, thank y'all very much.
Oh, man. Thank you, dude. All right.
Enjoyed it.
Later.
Bye.
Later.
All right, y'all. We hope y'all enjoyed this episode of Music in the Minor League. As always, if you like the podcast, please tell a friend. Get on the social media, let people know about it. Help us spread the word. It's the best way to get these bands the exposure they need and deserve. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, reach out. We'd love to talk to you. Just hit us up, DM us, either at the Brightwire page or through the page for the podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Due to tour, we may be back in 2 weeks. We may be back in 3 or 4. We're not 100% sure yet. Just we'll let you know. Follow our socials, and we'll let you know when it comes out, and hopefully you're subscribed and get a notification when a new episode's released. So hopefully it's not an issue for you. All right, now we're going to head out. Hope you enjoyed our conversation with Jeff. We're going to leave you with one more song from Mind Split with Mother Ghost. This one is called Brundlefly, which is a Mother Ghost cover. So we hope you dig it. Man, we'll see you next time. Be safe out there, y'all.